Okay, so we are going to go on to now question number 3 for your study guide. And it says in question number 3, in the problem, only one of the steps is justified with the correct property. Which justification was used correctly in the problem? So the only thing that I can see is that property is a keyword. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And then justification used correctly is the word that I want to use. Okay, and if you take a look at the following, they have 4 different properties. So let's kind of like do a quick little review of the different properties. Okay, A is associative property of multiplication. Remember what that one? It's the same thing as we have A plus B in parentheses plus C is the same thing as A plus B plus C. So that is associative property. Make sure you guys, anything that you see that is written on this, make sure you guys copy it down on your study guide. Anything that is not handwritten, you will not get the points for. So if you simply just go, oh, the answer is B, because I know the answer in the back of the paper, it has to be handwritten in order for you to get the 100 points. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so it's not handwritten, you guys. I'm not giving you guys 100 points for it. And that's just to ensure. And you know, it's not even like I'm trying to punish you or anything. It's more of like, I'm the mom, I'm overseeing you to make sure that you eat your vegetables, you know, before you guys get your dessert. So I just want to make sure that you guys are writing this down so that way you have a higher chance at getting a better grade on the final. So think of it as I'm doing it out loud, okay? But it needs to be handwritten. All right, addition property of equality. Addition property of equality, if you guys think about going back to it. An example of that would be like A plus B is the same thing as B plus A, okay? So what that means is that if I go ahead and add something to one side, like about x minus 2 equals 5. If I add 2 on both sides, that is the additional property of equality. Okay, letter C is distributive property. So that's like if I have a number in front of A plus B, I take the 4 and I basically just multiply in here. So I have 4A plus 4B. That's a distributive property. And then just so you guys know, this is being recorded. Do you have a mouse, my dear? Do you need one? Make sure you grab one over there, okay? All right, and then division property of equality is like if you have, for example, like A over -3 equals or actually, no, I'm gonna put -3 on top. -3 times A equals -6. Like I need to get rid of that -3, so I'm gonna divide it by -3 on both sides. And then I have A equals a 2. That is a division property of equality. So now that you know the 4 different problems, we're going to take a look at this and go, okay, which one was used correctly? Okay, so for number 3, this is the original problem. That's true, so that's fine. Then what I see here is, how did I get to 18x minus 24? You took the 6 and you went ahead and multiplied it inside here. That's not associative property, that's distributive. So that was used incorrectly, but that's not my answer because my answer asked me to find the one that's used correctly. Then from here, what I did was I combined the -24 and minus 26 together. And so with this one, it's not addition. This one is combining like terms. So it's just CLT, combining like terms. And then the next step here is that I added the 50 on both sides. So it's not distributive property. This will be addition property of equality. And then lastly, how I got 5 is I divided by 18 on both sides. And in this situation, did I divide? Yes, that actually is correct. So which one is correct? Division property of equality. So D as in dog. That was the only one that was used correctly. So you can kind of see like the level of questions on the test is a little bit difficult, but it's not to say that you guys don't know how to do it. That's why we're kind of reviewing this right now. So not only if you have your handwritten notes, you get the 100 points, but then also on top of that, you're getting the exposure of, you know, the type of question that'll be on your final. Does anybody else need a study guide? Make sure you guys have a study guide. All right, let's go on to number 4, okay? Number 4 is not a multiple choice question. This one is fill in the blank. And I wanna make sure you guys have enough exposure to it so that way you don't look at this and go, holy crap, what do I do on this question I'm having on the test? So the question that you have here is 34.8x, and it asks you to solve for the answer here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you guys to grab a calculator. You're gonna take that 0.2 and multiply it inside that parenthesis. So the first thing that you're gonna do is the distributive property. When you do the distributive property, you're going to end up with 34.8x plus 0.2x minus, and on your test, you can use a calculator. So grab your calculator. What is 4 times 0.2? You should get a negative 0.8 equals negative 16.8 plus 27x. Okay, so then the second thing I'm going to do is you are going to CLT, which is combine like terms. So if you look here, I can combine the x's together on the left side. And so what is 34.8x plus 0.2x? So grab your calculator, add those two numbers together. Drake, make sure you're copying this part down and you should be on the right page. Okay, you need to make sure you're doing that. So this is going to give you a 35x minus 0.8 equals negative 16.8 plus 27x. Third step, you guys. Now that I have combined everything, I want the x's on one side. So then I'm going to do a subtraction property of equality. So subtraction POE. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus that 27x on both sides. And so then when I do that, what's going to end up happening is that this part cancels. You bring down the negative 16.8, negative 0.8, and then 35 minus 27 is going to give you an 8x. Your fourth step, I got to add the 0.8 on both sides. So then your fourth step is addition, POE, or property of equality. So just keep in mind that if you are not doing this and there's no handwritten notes on your guide or your study guide, you will not be getting the 100 points. So just keep that in mind. This is one of your last grades going to your grade book. And again, if you do not have the safety grade of 75%, that will be somewhat problematic. And then if you don't have questions number 1 and 2 from Wednesday, go to the YouTube channel, go to the very bottom, and you'll see the video there for that. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with this. That part cancels. 8x equals Negative 16.8 plus 0.8, if you type that into your calculator, will give you that. So last step, you guys, I have an 8x. So how do I get rid of that 8 here? Opposite of a times and divide. So your fifth step is division, property of equality. So x equals, and you want to grab your calculator. Is going to give you a negative 1.1. Now, this is your answer, but as you know, it's not multiple choice, so it's fill in the blank, okay? So you literally have to fill in the blank with this. So let's go ahead and go over this together. How do I fill in this? So your answer is, you see how the first one's a positive and a negative? It's a negative. So you highlight the bubble that is a negative. And when I say highlight, I'm dead serious. Like you literally have to highlight it. You have to like, bubble it in, okay? Negative 1.1. Make sure you put the point in its own space. So then you have 1, then you hit the dot, and then you go to 1. A lot of you guys did not do that on the common assessments that we practiced with. So just make sure that you guys know how to do this on your final. All right, you guys, let's go on to number 5. So number 5, we're back to a multiple choice question, okay? So it says, what is the solution for x in this? So that's not going to be a super difficult question. Number 1, we're going to do is combine like terms. So if you look at the left side, do you see how there's like 2 x's there? 5 plus 2 is going to be a 7x minus 2 equals 7x minus 2. That's my first step. Okay, so then second step, you want to go ahead and move the x's over. So I'm going to go ahead and minus the 7x on both sides. So subtraction, property of equality. But then notice what happens with this. You have 7x on both, and then it both cancels. So you're left with negative 2 equals negative 2. So at this point, you're like, okay, well, it's not A and it's not B because that's not my answer. So then you're like, all right, then is it no solution or is it infinitely many solutions? So is it C or is it D? If you're not sure, guess what? You want to go ahead and check your answer on the very back of your paper, and that's totally fine. So this is question number 5, and the answer is D as in dog. Do you see that? So D as in dog. So then I want to go back to this. And with this one here, it is infinitely many solutions. And the reason for that is if these both are equal to each other, you can have many answers. You could put any number for x, and that's going to be exactly the same on both sides. So infinitely many solutions for your answer. No solution is if you have x equals like 6 divided by 0, where that makes it undefined. Okay. All right, let's take a look at number 6. For number 6, it says in the equation, solve for b. So the first thing I want to do is I want to highlight the part that it's asking me to do. So I'm going to highlight this part right there. And I'm also going to highlight where b is, so that way I know exactly where it's located. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this then. What I'm going to do is I want to get rid of everything else except for that B. I ultimately want B to equal something, okay? First thing I want to do to get rid of that is I want to get rid of this denominator, which is divided. So opposite of a divide is a time. And I'm going to time that on both sides. So then that cancels and you're left with B minus C equals A times D minus E on the left side. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that negative C. Opposite of a negative C is a plus C. If you have your cell phone out, please put your cell phone away so you're paying attention to what it is that we're doing. That part cancels. I'm going to have B is equal to A times D minus E in parentheses plus C. And I know it's difficult for you guys to imagine, like, why are we not adding the numbers? Because there's no numbers to be added. You know, everything is a letter. So I know it's a little bit awkward to do this, but you guys are doing just fine. Okay, so then let's take a look at the answer. Like, is there any answer that has this for B? Yeah, right there. That's your answer. That's it. I thought they were gonna make it a little bit more difficult, but no, they didn't. It was very simple. All right, number 8. Okay, so for number 8, this one is a multiple choice question, which is great, but it's also a word problem. So I'm gonna give you guys a second to go ahead and highlight all the important information first. So grab your highlighter, read the question, highlight it. All right, so let's go ahead and highlight some of the important part. A soccer pro president is planning on ordering a t-shirt for each of the 15 club members. So I'm going to highlight the 15 because there's 15 people there. It will cost $45 for the design, and then an additional cost for each of the t-shirts after that. So they're going to charge you $45 regardless of how many t-shirts or overall shirts you order. So the club president must order the same type of shirt for all the members and cannot spend more. So no more, cannot spend more than 135 bucks. Based on this information, which type of shirts can the club president choose to purchase? So then if you take a look at this part right here, tank tops are $3, so it's less material. Short sleeve is $4, long sleeve is $6, sweatshirt is $9. Okay, so remember, now let's say, for example, that I'm gonna have tank tops, TT for tank top, short sleeve, long sleeve, sweatshirt, SS for, or actually let's just put S for sweatshirt. So I'm gonna say that the overall cost is C, okay? Overall cost for this is $45 because you can't get away from that 45 bucks. They're gonna charge you that regardless. And then you're gonna have $3 times tank tops plus $4 times short sleeves plus $6 times long sleeve plus $9 times sweatshirt, okay? And this right here cannot be more than $135. So it's less than equal to. And again, if you're not sure what the answer is, you guys, I want you guys to go ahead and take a look at the answer at the very end. Okay. So this is question number 8, and question number 8 is D as in dog. Okay, so you're like, okay, that's my answer. Now let's work backwards to figure out why is that D as in dog. So D as in dog is long sleeve, short sleeve, or tank top. Okay, so you only have $135. If I pay the vendor the $45, I only have $90 left. So I could go ahead and do long sleeve because there's $6 on the minus of 6. And if you look at this, it says the cost of each shirt varies, but there is one condition. He must order the same type of shirts for all of the members. And how many members are there? There are 15 members. So if I go ahead and order long sleeves, which is $6, then I have to subtract 15 times 6. And 15 times 6 is going to give me 90. And guess what? If I subtract that, I'll have a balance of 0. And I can have a balance of 0 because I didn't go over it. So I could definitely order long sleeve shirts. I have a balance of 90 after I pay the vendor $45, okay? Can I order short sleeve shirts? Well, how much are short sleeves? Short sleeves are $4 a piece. So what is 15 people times 4? Because they all have to have the same shirts. You can't have like one person with a long sleeve and the other person with a short sleeve. So 15 times 4 is going to be a 60. If I subtract that, 90 minus 60 gives me a 30. So I still have some money left. So I could definitely order short sleeves. That's not a problem. Next one's tank tops. And again, I have $90, okay? If I order tank tops, remember tank tops are gonna be $3. So what is $3 times 15 people? That's gonna give you a 45. If I subtract that, guess what? I still have a balance, $45. So tank tops are good. So why can I not order C, which is a sweatshirt? Well, let's check that out. If you have $90, sweatshirts are $9. So 9 times the 15 people is gonna be $135. You don't have enough in your $90. You're gonna be in the hole for negative $45. So you definitely cannot order a sweatshirt. So the only option that you have here is long sleeve, short sleeves, and tank tops. That is the only one that's available. And again, like the type of questions on the final is a little bit difficult, and I understand that, but you need to make sure you guys have the exposure to it. All right, number 9. After this one, you guys, I'll give you guys like a little mini break before we continue. And actually, you know what? I think I might take a little break right here. So we're gonna take a little break. All right, you guys, I'm going to continue with question number 9. Which of the following represents the solution to this compound inequality? And so looking at this part right here, okay, you're going to be solving this. So the first thing to do is going to subtract the 5 on the left side and add the 7 on the right side. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. Okay, so then after you do that, I'm going to rewrite this again. So I'm going to write it down the bottom so I have a little bit of space. So I have 2x is less than 1 minus 5 is a negative 4. And again, you can use your calculator on the test. So, you know, that's fine. If you don't know how to add and subtract negative numbers, it's not a problem. Next one on the right side, you have 4x is greater or equal to 9 plus 7 is a 16. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and divide the 2 and then divide the 4 on everything. which then gives me the answer that it's going to be that 2 cancels. X is less than -4. That's my first answer. And then my second answer is X is greater or equal to +4. That's my second answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this because I really don't know which graph it's going to look like yet. So let's graph both and just, to make sure. So you have -4 right here, +4 right there. Okay, if I go ahead and look at the first one right here, do you see on -4 it's an open circle? It's not eating the letter, it's eating the number. So you shade to the left like that. And then if I graph this one right here on the right side, it's closed, okay? Because there's an equal sign after, so it's a closed circle, but that one is eating the letter X, so you shade to the right. So which one does not match, you guys? A, B, C, or D? I think the only one that matches is C as in cat, okay? And that will be the correct answer if you get this one right. All right, last question of the day, hopefully. Number 10. So read number 10, highlight the important information on there. Okay, so you have a linear function right here. It has a slope of -2/3. So that's the first hint. It goes to the point 0, 6. What point on the graph represents the x-intercept? Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that point first. So 0, 6 is at 0. There's 5. Here's 6. So that's the first point. That's 0, 6. Okay. Then it has a slope of -2/3, which means you're going to go down 2 over to the right 3. So we're going to count down 2 over to the right. 1, 2, 3. Down 2 over 1, 2, 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. And then you're just simply going to connect the dots. All right, so the question here asks you x-intercept. I'm going to highlight the x-intercept, okay? So what it's saying is, what point does it hit the x-axis? Your x-axis is this green line right here. Which point did your red line hit at that green line? Is it A, B, C, or D? I think it's A, because A is right there, and that's where the red line hit the green line. Hey, what's up? Good morning. All right, one more. We can go over one more. So we're going to go over number 11. I know you're like, you said last one. I lied. I do this with my actual kids all the time. They're like, Mom, but you said this is the last one. I'm like, yes, and I'm entitled to change my mind. I do it all the time. So one more, you guys, I'm sorry. Okay, number 11. A line was graphed and it contained a slope of 2 and the point 3,1. Which of the point is also on the same line? So let's try this. So you're gonna have y equals mx plus b. That's the first thing to start off with. Slope means m equals 2. Point means that your x is 3 and your y is 1. Okay, so then let's plug those numbers in. So y is 1, slope is 2, x is 3 plus b. B is what I'm trying to find. 2 times 3 is 6. So if I subtract 6 on both sides, 1 minus 6 is a -5. And that's your b. So then I'm going to rewrite my equation. Y is equal to mx, your m is a 2, minus 5. So now I'm going to pick some points to plug in here. Okay, you know x is the first one, y is the second one. Which one if I plug in here will give me the same answer? Okay, if you're not sure, just take a look at it. I'm going to think, let's see, d0. Well, that's not giving you 0, x. Let's try c. If I pick c, y is -5, 2 times 0 minus 5. Does it equal each other? Yeah, -5 equals -5. Your answer is C as in cat. All right, you guys, you're done with 11 questions. We'll go on to the next one.